Welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for August 14th. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
Well, before we get roll into this, I think we should make an announcement first. We
teased this earlier.
Yeah, we teased it on Facebook the other day.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go ahead and let it out, let the cat out of the bag. Week and Geek and Comics and More have an exclusive Hoax Hunters variant coming up for issue number 10. It is it's pretty cool. You know, it features your Week and Geek crew as well as the two writers of Hoax Hunters, Mike Morrissey and Steve Seeley. They're going to come in and sign it on September 4th. At least we're hoping September 4th. Steve's still trying to work out getting the day off. You know, I mean, we all got day jobs. But that's not even the coolest part of this thing. The coolest part is who drew the cover for us. None other than Mr. Mike Ortiz over here.
My first published work.
And it looks great.
Illustrated work.
Okay.
I did the Spider-Man.
Yep.
A while back. But yeah, the two of us are on the cover, playing with toys.
Yeah, we are playing with Hoax Hunters action figures.
And set here at Comics and More.
Absolutely.
So check it out. It's on Facebook.
Yep, you can see that cover, and I'm sure it's going to start poking around. You know, I'm a shameless self-promoter anyway, so I'm sure Rich Johnson's getting an email from me later today. So yeah, that should be cool, and be ready for that. And like I said, you can look that up online and see what the cover looks like. They are going to be $10 each. I've got no problem mail ordering these babies. So those of you who can't regularly shop at Comics and More, feel free to give me a call at 248-399-3213, and we can set up a pre-order for you. And while I got you on the phone, I can take care of any other needs you might have too. So. Now, I'll start with my my first pick here of the week. Saga's back. Saga's back from its 2-month hiatus, as it always does. It finishes an arc, takes a little break, and then comes right back.
Very smart way to do it. One, so they can stay on schedule. And two, like I was 3 issues behind, so I was able to catch up.
Which is nice. You know, it gives you a little time, and if you were in the kind of lull, you could go back and even read those trades, and then you come right back at it. So where we were left, it looked like Marco's dad died, but he's on the cover. So,
is that him, or is that
isn't that him?
No, because I thought his dad had 2 eyes.
Does he have 2 eyes?
Isn't that the freaky writer guy?
Oh, that's who that guy is.
Yeah.
All right, see, that's the problem with 2 months, too. You got caught up, and I was actually caught up.
I just read it a couple weeks ago. So, yeah.
So, okay, so that's the writer guy that every group is trying to find. That's right. So we left off where Dad died. Unfortunately, everything is kind of kicking into gear. This is a cool book. Really, really cool book, and I'm glad to have it back. And so now we'll get 6 unimpeded months. And
I realized one thing with this book in thinking about it, and this actually kind of explains. I realized why I think I do have a preference for superhero books.
Okay,
is the people in this book have they're unusual names, but they're normal names, so I can't remember that. But like Superman and Spider-Man and Batman, real easy to remember, because if you don't remember them, you just kind of look at their costume, you can figure it out. So that's one of the downsides to a lot of indie books and a lot of other non-superhero genre books is I can't remember anybody's name because they have normal people names, but I'll never forget Spider-Man and Superman and Wolverine and things like that.
Well, yeah, sure, the superhero name.
Yeah.
So do you remember all their alter egos?
No, not necessarily. So, if writers out there of independent books, if you want me to remember your characters' names, make it something really weird.
Put Man at the end of it.
Man. Or just something bizarre, or something that like they look like it. So the guy's like
put it
fat,
on their shirt.
Make his name, Fat Joe or something. Because then I'll look at the fat guy and go.
Great writing advice, Mike. Thanks for all you aspiring writers out there.
Yeah, I'm old. My memory's slipping.
Next up, I've got The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys by Dark Horse Comics. This is issue number 3. This is written, as I've said before, by Gerard Way, who had written The Umbrella Academy. Also of My Chemical Romance fame, which is not something I was hip to, but he is a pretty decent writer, this guy. This is there was like a lost band, there's some weird things going on with like radio DJs and this apocalyptic future. It's really weird, but I like it. I liked the first issue, and then by the time I got through the second issue, I liked that even better. Really, really cool book. I highly recommend checking this thing out.
A lot of people, will look at celebrities that come in and do comics and think that they're kind of posers. Gerard Way actually wanted to be a comic book artist. He was an intern at Marvel.
Was he?
But then, he was also in a band, and when the time came to be comic creator or rock star, he chose rock star, which shows he's not only talented, he's pretty smart too.
Fair enough.
Because there's not a lot of young girls throwing themselves at comic book artists.
Well, that's probably true.
Well, there's a few in years past, but yeah, he chose wisely. became a rock star, and then used that to become a comic book writer.
Well, and he's actually a talented writer versus
Yeah.
so many of these other guys that come in. Like, didn't Nicolas Cage do something a few years ago?
I don't know.
But all he did was, I've got a story idea. And
Right.
he probably did, well, now this is going to sound real derogatory, but he probably did very similar to what, the early stage of what Stan Lee would do. Here's 2 sentences, go write a book.
Yeah.
And then he didn't fill in the dialogue later. It's just
Right.
like, oh, go with my 2-sentence idea so you
Yeah.
can put my name on the book and
Well, I
I
know
cash a
there's,
check to pay for all my tax problems.
Is it Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Sorry to cut you off on your little diatribe
No
about
problem.
Gerard Way and the rock and roll, and we ran out of batteries,
Yep.
so it was a whole thing. Moving on to Half Past Danger.
The camera said, "Shut up, Mike."
Yeah, so we're moving on. That's why a little fade out. Now, Chris Owen would like to think there are outtakes, but there are. The whole show is an outtake.
Yeah.
So, issue number 4 of Half Past Danger. This book has been awesome. I mean, there are dinosaurs, ninjas, Nazis. What else do you want in there? It's really a fun, bizarre book with a great title.
Great Indiana Jones kind of cover too.
Yeah, well, all of them have been that. And again, ninjas and Nazis and dinosaurs and all kinds of weirdness. I really like this book. It's a spy book by way of all the other weird things that you were obsessed with when you were 8.
Cool.
Like, just weird. Then I've got Thor, God of Thunder. This is the God Bomb conclusion. This is one I'm like an issue or 2 behind. I'm going to have to get caught up here. But this has been great. Like, since issue 1, they've introduced, the God Slayer character. And then suddenly, you're left with 3 different Thors, like, all kind of meeting each other, the same period of time. And they've got to fight this thing. And, like I said, I'm a bit behind here. I don't know what's going on. But I think Jason Aaron's been doing a great job on this. Who's it? Isad Ribic is doing the
He's a great
artwork.
artist.
Yeah, absolutely. Wasn't he doing kind of a little bit more painted once upon a time? This looks a
Yeah.
little bit finding more like regular pencil and ink stuff.
Yeah,
I think
I think it's tough to get a kind of semi-monthly schedule with a painted book. So he switched back to the regular drawing.
I like it better that way. When painted books were not the thing, it looked great.
Yeah.
Now that there's more and more of it, just give me regular line work. Then I've got East to West number 5. This is Hickman. This is Apocalypse, 4 Horsemen, Future. I have no idea what's going on. I am a couple issues behind, but even when the issues I've read,
I'm
I don't
completely
really know what's
caught
going
up,
on.
and I'm not really sure. Death is in it.
Yeah.
There's his wife, who they thought was dead. I don't know how that works.
I don't either. But again, there are only 3
is-
of the 4
is alive.
Horsemen.
Well,
The 4th is Death.
The
so
4th
that's
is
the
death, but
right.
he's not with the other horsemen. He's got his own plan in this strange future. Well, it may not be the future. It may be the past. It may
maybe
be a
but
high-tech past.
There's some weird stuff
it's a
going on for
Western-
sure, though. Very Western, very strange. There's looks like part of the Shanghai. All
A
right.
sci-fi apocalypse western
Yeah, good stuff.
with political overtones.
Then my whole stack is pretty much Image this week.
Yeah.
Then I've got Mind the Gap, issue number 12. We've already kind of found out who is behind this thing that is affecting Al. It's not quite that simple. Yes, her mom's involved. They were doing kind of, hypnosis therapy and other weird things. And her appearing in the garden is not an accident. Like, she's got some strange power that they knew that they're trying to figure out. And then that's kind of why she was attacked, to get her to there. Really bizarre. It was a good mystery. Now they've sort of unraveled some of it, but now they've added more layers. With each issue, this book just gets better and better. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but it is very popular in here. It just, as more people talk about it in here, it starts to get moving. But I'm not hearing the websites really,
No, not really.
go crazy about it, which is too bad because it is a really strong, well-written book. Then we've got Peter Panzerfaust. This is issue number 13. Love this book. I got caught up on 12 just the other night. This is one that I'd usually read right out of the stack, but I'd somehow fallen behind. They're going to go after, they think the children have gone after the Hook, but they haven't. So there's something that, they've gone back to see Wendy, but everyone else has kind of gone out to see where they're at, and it looks like some trouble is going to be brewing. They've kind of got basically set up, they thought they went to the place where the Hook and his men were, and they're not there. So they were clearly lured in there, and, Peter's always flying by the seat of his pants anyway. Just a fun book. I mean, again, another World War II book, but now we're looking at Peter Pan, the myth here. And it's really just a fun book. Then I've got a book here that is not my top pick of the week, which usually would be.
Usually.
The Walking Dead, number 113. We've got Andrea up in the bell tower. I mean, the fit is about to hit the shan. Rick decided in the last issue that, you know what, we've got Negan here. He showed up a few days early anyway. Let's just lock it down and take him out. And then, of course, Negan's like, do you really think we were foolish to not have men posted looking out for us? And the war is about to begin. We got one more issue 114 after this. I don't even know what's in this. I haven't had a chance to read, but I'm sure it's going to get nasty. I mean, Negan was not happy. Things were going on. Jesus is still not really with them. He kind of escaped out of where they were at, and things are going on. 114 is going to end this arc, and then 115 is going to start your all-out war, where it's my understanding that all 4 camps are going to be fighting. The first 3 of them were aligning against Negan. Well, Rick might have screwed up horribly here. And we'll have to see. I mean, Rick's been screwing up horribly for 100 issues or so, and made it out okay usually. So that is the top of the bulk of my stack, rather. What do you got?
I'm starting off with Fantastic Four, number 11. This is Matt Fraction with Christopher Sabella. I don't know what he's contributing as far as the writing goes. This is the Fantastic Four still flying through space and time looking for a cure. It turns out that the Reed was affected by something. His powers were kind of breaking him down. In the last issue, they realized that it's not just a natural occurrence, that it's actually an attack. Yes. On all 4 of them. So they have to find a cure before their powers basically devour them.
And Sue's getting all transparent. You see her muscles and everything weird.
And the thing starts kind of flaking off. And then it looks like we've got the Johnny Storm from the future that has been in the FF book. Pops up because these 2 books are going to kind of collide somewhere down the road. They've been pretty one-off and pretty independent. But Fraction has been telling a bigger story. And it looks like they've got some characters from some previous issues popping up too. Anyway, this has been a really solid book. Cool. Matt Fraction has been doing a very kind of fun, high concept sci-fi FF in a very different vein from Hickman.
Well, I like all the time travel too. The last issue was fun, where they go back and Ben Franklin's a Skrull. And they're dealing with all that stuff, and they're talking about the slavery issue, and some really interesting stuff in that. I thought it was cool.
I thought all the time travel is supposed to be breaking the universe or something. Anyway,
that's editorial's problem.
Batman's not traveling through time, but he's this story is set in the past. Batman number 23. This is 0 Year. I think this is the 3rd chapter, and it looks like someone beat the crap out of Bruce Wayne. This has got the Riddler in it. Well, actually, before he's the Riddler, when he's still Edward Nygma.
Yes.
And he's working for Bruce's uncle or something like that.
Yeah. But clearly something's wrong.
And the Joker does not yet exist, but the Red Hood gang does, and presumably the leader of the Red Hood gang will become the Joker. He certainly looks like the Joker because his chin is sticking out, but it wouldn't surprise me to find out, that Scott Snyder's got a twist and that's not the Joker. The Joker is one of the other henchmen or something. Who knows? It's a new universe, a new kind of origin, so we'll see what happens. But great stuff. Capullo's artwork is really knocking it out as we see kind of the young Batman just kind of forming.
I like it.
Next up, Uncanny X-Men. This is number 10. Brian Michael Bendis and essentially the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, even though they think they're good guys. This is Scott Summers' team and Magneto. This is kind of the companion book to All-Star X-Men or All New X-Men. I don't know specifically what's going on in this. They finished their storyline with what's her name? Magic.
Okay.
One of the members of the group was captured by S.H.I.E.L.D., or that he quit and was captured by S.H.I.E.L.D. Mystique is infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. So there's a lot of big stuff going on. Bendis is clearly kind of putting all his pieces together because we've got that big Battle of the Atom crossover coming up. Next up, Wolverine and the X-Men. This is Jason Aaron's X-Men book. This is Wolverine versus the new Hellfire Club, which is primarily a bunch of kids. But it's another kind of competing school. They've got their team of Hellions and basically, some big giant monsters. This is a fun book. This is very different in tone than the other stuff that Jason Aaron has written. We've got a fun kind of teenage X-Men book. Great stuff, and it was nice to get the Hellfire Club back. Next up, Green Lantern Corps number 23. This is John Stewart and Fatality. Something's been sucking the power out of all the Green Lanterns rings. They just briefly, temporarily go out. And all of this, I'm sure, is building towards the big Lights Out crossover that's coming down the road. But this is the John Stewart book. This has been pretty solid so far. This is the one where they're kind of really just doing Green Lantern cop stuff going off and
Okay.
solving cases and saving planets. But then every time it's least convenient for their Power Wings to run out, they run out and then come back right before they're dead.
At least all the books aren't inextricably linked again. At least
Yes.
they're finally taking a break
Well,
from that.
for
so.
a month or two, then they're all going to go back together to being linked. But anyway, it's all building towards this relic thing that's happening. Next up, Justice League of America, number 7. This is continuing Trinity War. This is part 4. Looks like we got Lex Luthor and Pandora. It's become kind of evident that the crime syndicate is behind a lot of this. They're going to be popping up in the Forever Evil crossover down the road. But basically, the 3 Justice League teams, as all superhero teams do, they get together, they fight, then they realize they're on the same side, and then they fight the bad guys. I don't think I'm spoiling anything there. I haven't read ahead. That's just every single superhero crossover.
My buddy Cleveland says he loves that. He loves it when the heroes fight and then they hug it out and become friends.
Yes, and then
he
go
loves
fight the
that.
bad guy.
Yeah,
that's classic. Next up, Doomsday Point 1. This is John Byrne's new IDW post-apocalyptic book. This has been pretty interesting. It keeps going not quite in directions that I would expect. I thought it was maybe going to sort of be like a Walking Dead, where they go around and they just find out how horrible things are in this post-apocalyptic world. They wind up in a prison, but then they find a group of people who are actually okay and a bunch of soldiers.
One of those characters looks like Aldous Hilltop from the X-Men. So instead of a governor, did they find a senator?
I would not be surprised if this isn't a tie-in. But yeah, John Byrne giving his kind of sci-fi.
But Aldous Hilltop turns into that weird monster thing. It's a Thanos.
Oh yeah, well that's in 2012.
Okay, so
2112.
It's sure of our. Oh, okay.
So it's
100 years before that happens.
So yeah,
it looks like Aldous Hilltop.
That does look exactly like Aldous Hilltop. John Byrne doesn't have a wide variety of faces, but so I guess that was Shut Up Mike number 2.
It keeps happening on you.
So, yeah.
I talked too long on my first go round. So.
Maybe we should just get to the top.
So I guess that brings me to the top of my stack. Yeah. Friendly camera. Thanks for sticking around. Ghosted number 2 by Image Comics. This is a Skybound. I didn't realize this was under the Skybound imprint. So this is under Kirkman. So I wonder how long it's going to take for someone to try and scoop it up. This is probably why they, after the fact, people started calling and asking about Ghosted too. They're like, "Where do you have any?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got some more. I managed to reorder more because I liked it." The first issue essentially sees kind of an old man. He's got some kind of crazed team that he breaks a notorious thief out of prison. And then when he gets the thief to him, he basically tells him there's this famous, haunted house that they're about to tear down. Well, before they do that, we will let you have your life back and you'll get everything. You go about your business. But you're going to steal something from me. What do you want me to steal? A ghost. So he's got to go into this house. He gets to assemble his own team, and he's got to go in there and essentially steal a ghost. And the way the last issue ended, they've got this person who's supposed to be some kind of psychic and should be able to read when things are going on. Anything yet? Nope, nothing. And you as the viewer looking through that fourth wall see the entire room is infested with ghosts. And like, nope, nothing yet. So I don't know what's going to happen next, but this next issue looks crazy. It's got a guy eating a heart, so it's probably going to go into the past a little of that house and why it's so gruesome and horrible. And then we're going to get our team in there and find out what's going on. But I like the idea of, over and over, I talk about how I love the whole heist movie thing. Mm-hmm. So whenever you kind of got like a heist movie going in a comic book, yeah, you got me. I'm all in. And you mixed a heist movie with ghosts, I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the top of my stack. I'm going to move along so you don't get cut off again.
Well, top of my stack is Infinity, number 1. We've been waiting for this.
Yes.
I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why this is my number 1 book. Number 5, Thanos. Number 4,
Thanos?
Jim Chung.
Oh!
Great artist. I've been a fan of his ever since Young Avengers. Number 3, Thanos. Number 2, Jonathan Hickman, who we've praised many times. And number 1,
give you one guess.
Thanos. I've barely I stopped myself from flipping through it because even though I don't care about spoilers, I've kind of been waiting for this. One of my favorite villains, one of my favorite authors.
Sure.
Lots of big stuff has gone down in the Marvel Universe. This is really Jonathan Hickman's first shot at doing a big Marvel event. So let's see how he does.
Yeah, and how much is that? That's
this is a $4.99, but
thick.
it's a double-sized book. I mean, it's extra-sized.
Yeah, it's thick.
I know Jim Chung isn't drawing all of it. They're doing what they kind of has become the thing that they do on these event books is they'll have one guy do like a bunch of issues, and then they'll break it out. I think some the section in space is going to be drawn by one artist. I don't know who the other artists are. They'll be coming on later.
But it helps him get it done on time.
Yeah,
Easier too.
yeah, because it probably took him a year to do like 4 issues because he's slow. But he's very, very good. And this is great stuff. And I don't want to look anymore, so that's my top pick.
Right on. Well, that is essentially the show, but we want to remind you to be sure to come in and pick up your Hoax Hunters number 10 on September 4th. Variant cover done by Mike Ortiz. Really,
Hopefully
really cool
I'll be
stuff.
here as well.
Yeah, we were hoping Mike Ortiz will be in here signing along with Mike Morrissey and Steve Seeley. So be sure to check that out. And again, 248-399-3213 is how you get a hold of me to pre-order that book.